Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague. With me, like always, is my friend from another timeline, Noah Bailey. So, the Super Bowl happened this weekend. We're not going to talk about the game. That's not this podcast. But there were several, uh, there were several trailers from that event that I thought were pretty interesting. So we're going to talk about those. Um, First, probably the one that surprised me the most, The Flash.
Yeah,
What are your opinions on this Flash trailer?
it's a pretty solid trailer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't. I'm on record being like, I don't think the movie's real. It's probably real.
It's probably.
Like, so what this? Yeah, I don't. This looks interesting because it's like, I don't want to love it, but like, there's some parts about this I'm like, okay, that was pretty awesome. Like, first of all, Michael Keaton, like, fully back in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Batman. Does the Batman's like looked great. That was really awesome. The costume for Flash looks really good.
Yeah.
It
The
yeah,
Supergirl
there
outfit
was
looks good.
yeah,
I,
like really surprising,
mm-hmm.
but like really solid.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I don't know,
Ben
man. This I
Affleck.
mean it.
Ben Affleck Batman's in a blue cape.
I
I
don't. I
can.
love how we just talked about
I
that.
was like, it
I
looks
saw that
good.
and
I
I
think
was
it
like,
looks good.
no, it's working.
Blue and gray. It
well,
works.
so, I think I read this online, but somebody was saying like it kind of would work more if it was like during the day. It's kind of like urban camo almost
Mm.
because if it's like a gray and kind of
Wow.
bluish gray, it's like with roads and stuff like that, it would make it work.
Hmm.
So maybe that's like it because it was a daytime shot, I believe, what he was wearing. So it's like
Yeah.
maybe that's like a I don't go out in the day often, but if I do, maybe I can adapt to the environment more, which sure, but I don't know. It didn't look bad, honestly. So I was kind of like, all right, cool.
Mm.
Batman can wear that. Why not?
Yeah. I will say I completely acknowledge that this trailer was 90% nostalgia bait and pandering. Like I completely understand that. Like the trailer focused mostly on the two Batmans and Supergirl and Zod for some reason. It's like,
Oh yeah,
which like I
that's gonna be something.
if the the movie essentially is this timeline because Barry's mom doesn't die, somehow that causes metahumans to not exist. Sure, let's go with that. That sounds like a flashpointy thing that could happen. Why not? So when Zod comes down, there's no one there that can stop him. That makes enough sense. Um, so yeah, I completely understand that this trailer is 90% pandering, and the Flash himself isn't really the focus of probably not even the focus of the movie. Let's be real.
No,
But
despite being two of them.
yeah, they're being too. Which I'll get to that in a second. Uh, but I completely understand that the movie is probably going to be most like the main draw is going to be all these other characters.
100%.
But I think this cool, so who cares?
That's the thing. It's like, when you think about like No Way Home, it's like, oh, this is totally just like
Right?
100% for nostalgia. It's like, so
Yeah,
like,
that was exactly
so
my
like it's a bad
mindset. It's like I enjoy No Way Home because of Green Goblin, because of the other Spider-Man. Like
thing.
Doc Ock was cool. Like Tom, it was definitely Tom Holland's movie. Like he grew the most out of all the characters, but
But
the other characters were very cool. Yeah. Um, but yeah, like this is going to be Barry's movie. I understand that, but Michael Keaton being there, the other Batman, Supergirl, etc. Like it's still going to be a nostalgia fest or a fan service fest. I get that, but still probably going to be a pretty fun movie from the looks of it. Um, I have one kind of concern with all I've said so far. What do you think are the chances that we've seen all the good stuff?
I'm not gonna lie, the fact that they put in all of that in the trailer kind of does feel like, wow, you really weren't holding back. But
Uh huh.
like, there's still a lot that could still add. But the fact that you had, both Batman and Supergirl and like all the stuff in the trailer that would have been like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh man, you're like they're trying to get butts and seats. Like they really want this to succeed because a lot of people have kind of already given up on this. So I feel like, yeah, they're
Yeah.
trying to like bring them back. But I'm not gonna. I don't know. Like this movie does have the potential to kind of just do whatever it wants, more or less. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a little too early to say we've seen all the best parts because, to be fair, they could add whatever they felt like. So
Yeah, especially since we haven't seen a lot of Barry actually being the Flash. So,
right.
which if it does follow the Flashpoint story, he won't actually have his powers for at least a third of the movie. Which we saw a scene of him, of the lightning bolt hitting him and the other Barry. So I assume that's when they'll get their powers back, and the rest of the movie will happen. Um, so something interesting about this trailer was I noticed that like our universe's Barry, he was mainly like his main colors were red, and the other Barry wore a lot of yellow.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder
I
is that Barry
mean,
not actually Barry?
I mean, what would he keep his face though?
There is a comic. There's a Thon comic where he makes himself look like Barry and tries to impersonate
Oh
him.
gosh, that is something Reverse Flash would do
Right.
though. he, it was me as you, Barry. Like so kind of like, oh my gosh. Honestly, that would be a nice twist though. You go through the
Mm-hmm.
movie thinking it's just two Barrys, and really it's like, wait a second, who are you? Like kind of
Because
thing.
Zod is not the only villain. There is 1000% someone else. Like if anything, Zod is Supergirl and maybe even Batman's villain for this movie, but not Barry. Like
No. And it
something.
is a Flashpoint movie, so you kind of like. I mean, yeah. I mean, they gotta do
Yeah,
Reverse Flash. It doesn't really work without it.
yeah. Like I can also maybe seeing the what's it called Black Death,
Oh,
Black what's
oh, like like Red Death, or you mean
the
Black
like
Flash or whatever?
black like the one that like the black one that like follows him
Oh
when
yeah, it
Barry's
was
supposed to
Black
have died.
Flash,
I
right?
think it's Black Flash. Yeah,
I think it's Black Flash. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's like the Speedster of Death or
yeah,
whatever, which is
yeah. The one that followed Thawne in the only good season of Legend of
oh
Superhero.
Legends.
Yeah,
Oh
or
yeah,
yeah, sorry, Legend of Tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's Black Flash.
Okay.
Scary looking thing. It's like a
Like,
super speed zombie looking Grim Reaper
mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Like I can kind of see a thing where like because there are two Flashes in this universe, the Speed Force like thinks one of them shouldn't exist or something.
Mhm.
But like either way, like this movie is totally ending with Flash fighting some other speedster. That
Oh, for sure, it has to.
has it has to like
Who else is he gonna fight? I mean, it's not really gonna fight Zod. I
Captain
mean,
Cold's not showing up. Like
oh my god, that'd be so funny. You think this big climax scene? It was me, Barry, Mirror Master. No, like, get out of here.
Weather Wizard, that was you the whole time.
You
Like
see, unreal. It's like the equivalent of like when they made freaking Riddler Hush in the movie. I'm
mm,
just like, all
uh,
right,
interesting choice.
right?
Yeah, I do like how they're essentially still doing the Superman story from Flashpoint, but doing it for Supergirl instead. I think that's a nice touch, and I think her costume looks great. She's not blonde, but I can get over that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things that's like, I mean,
It's a
As
different
long as
universe, so it doesn't really
yeah,
matter.
I mean, as long as she's a girl who flies and faster than a speeding bullet and all that,
Mm.
then I mean,
Well,
close
yeah,
enough.
as
It'll
long
be
as she's a
fine.
girl who flies with a yellow S on her chest, like that's super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like close enough. Like it'll be fine.
mm, yeah,
It's like the Catwoman thing all over again. It's like she doesn't have to look like what I mean.
right.
As long as she wears a black costume and steals stuff, good enough.
Mm-hmm. She uses her whip. That's the bonus.
Yes.
Yeah. So the trailer was specifically made to make people excited for the stuff that's not Flash. I hope in the future we'll get a trailer that like really focuses more on Flash, but there's a chance that actually showing more Flash stuff would give stuff away. They're simply trying to hold off if there is some kind of big reveal later. But
I mean, my thing is like I feel like the trailer hasn't really explained what's happening. It's kind of just crazy stuff happens. It's like, okay, but do they even say Flashpoint in the trailer? Like, do
I
they even?
mean, the beginning of the trailer, Michael Keaton said, like, you can go to all these different timelines. Like, why did you choose this one? And he's like, it's the only one where my mom lives. And I guess we imply he went.
Okay. Like, I know we know because we knew this going in, but it's like I
Yeah,
feel like if I was just watching a movie, like I'd be like, what the heck? You know
like,
what I mean?
yeah. Which, kind of going off that, there is nothing this movie can do that won't convince me that. Sorry, there's nothing this movie that can do that could convince me that this should have been the first Flash movie. Nothing on this planet can this movie do to me to be yes, this is how this Barry should have like. This is essentially yes, Justice League introduced him. Technically, BVS, you know what I mean. Technically, Justice League introduced us to the character. This should be his first solo outing. There is nothing this movie can do to convince me that, because Flashpoint, we need to know how he exists in his world before, which we got that a little bit, but not. We didn't get like really like a day to day. We didn't really get to see him fight other villains. We didn't get to see how he really deals with his mom's death. We got to see him interact with his dad in prison, but that's a different thing. Like
Mm.
it took 3 seasons for the Flash TV show to get to this point, and here we're just thrust in there. Like I don't know, it seems a little early, but maybe if the movie's good, that's fine. But I still think we should have gotten at least one movie of him just doing random Flash stuff before then. But whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of just like I see that you're trying to. It's kind of like the whole like BBS thing all over again. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to just jump to the biggest storyline without setting it up,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really. It kind of doesn't work like that. You can't just be it's Death of Superman. We barely met Superman, and to be honest, he didn't feel like Superman
Right.
when we met him. So it
Death of
doesn't. We don't
Superman
really
right
care,
after a Batman v Superman. We barely met either of these characters. Like that's
right?
a lot. Okay.
You want to hear? It's like, all right, Flash movie, Flashpoint. What already? Like,
Okay. I still I still want so badly in some future Flash movie that assuming James Gunn's Flash stuff in the future will be completely different universe, different Barry, everything. I still want so badly for that first Flash movie, just like random stuff to happen that like the audience might not notice or Barry might even find a little weird, but like it revealed later that Reverse Flash has been messing with the whole time. I want that so badly.
it was me there. Like that's iconic at this point.
uh, like I want it to be so subtle, and then in the second movie, like Reverse Flash show up, and then like
Mm-hmm.
I would like and, like not even like maybe not even like mention that he did those like not don't even like flashback to those things, but like upon rewatch is like oh that's probably from Reverse Flash like that I want that.
Yeah. Like he just randomly trips one time or
Mm-hmm.
something happens. Just like, yeah, I'll just what happened?
He's
Oh,
like
just
something just like randomly moves in front of him, or that shouldn't have, but or yeah.
yeah, pushes him down the stairs or something,
uh,
like just something like abs, which he actually apparently has done
yep,
in continuity,
yep.
apparently, which is kind of horrible. Like
When he was like a
that's so
child, yeah.
yeah. It was. I think that's all. One like he was actually pretended to be the monster under
uh,
Barry's bed as a child. That is like the most evilest thing ever.
he is the number one hater in all of media. Like he's gone back in time to erase all of his like the girl he has a crush on. He went back in time to erase all of her love interests from existence. That he can only have him. And when he didn't, and she didn't like reciprocate, he went back in time over and over and over again to like until she finally said yes.
Oh my gosh.
He went back in time to erase all of Barry's childhood friends from existence, so he'll be lonely forever. It's like, dude, why?
Oh, oh, oh. I just found the definitive list of
Okay.
terrible things he's done. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Killed his brother out of envy of his brother's success.
Right.
Killed his rival at the Flash Museum in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you said, killed every love interest his crush had, and then apparently put her in a vegetative state
Oh,
because she wouldn't date him even when she was single.
that's kind of worse than what I said. I was
That's
okay.
way worse. Went back in time, killed Barry's mom. We all know that.
Yeah.
Rain Barry's dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went erased Barry's childhood friends.
Mm-hmm.
Pushed Barry down the stairs as a child.
Let's just throw it in there.
Moved Barry's arm during a baseball game so they wouldn't catch and win the game
Uh,
for his team. That's so messed
I
up.
love-
Was what? Yeah, actually was the monster under Barry's bed and tormented him as a child. Oh, let's see. Was willing to allow Earth to be destroyed just because he wanted to make Barry feel bad for trying to save.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I was reading that and I was like, when does that? I was like, oh, I'm stupid. Icon reality. Yeah.
Like I said,
Oh
mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-hmm.
During Flashpoint, threatened to kill his mom again, go back in time, kill his mom again, and then pretend to be a social worker
Uh,
and raise Barry himself only to. That is
uh,
like
so petty.
okay, wait. Like I I understand you hate him. Like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, get a hobby, man. That's like
Yeah, like I said, there's one story that he literally changed his body to look like Barry so he could impersonate him. Like that's
oh
oh
my
man.
gosh.
Like, I just want that pettiness just to seep into every aspect of the Flash stuff going forward. Like you can't just have you can't just have Reverse Flash just show up in a movie and be like, and him. I feel like his presence needs to be known throughout the entire essence of the character. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely a oh man. As far as rivals go, he's definitely the most devoted to being petty.
yeah. And he's one
Which
of
is
the
saying a lot.
yeah, and he's one of the only ones that that like one of the only like I'm you but better villains I really enjoy. There's not many of them like I. There's not many that I actually like more than the actual character, but I really like Reverse Flash.
Because he's more than just I'm also fast. It's like personal for him.
Yeah. So maybe he'll show up in the Flash movie. Maybe like I said, maybe it'll be
Probably.
some other thing. But like, the movie could be good. My hopes have been raised a little more than they were. So it went from I wish it weren't coming out to could be fun. you
Yeah.
know, looks like if for no other
Could
reason,
be
just to
done.
see Michael Keaton be Batman again.
Yeah, I mean that's already worth the price of admission. So
Right. Um, Next, we got a new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
mhm.
Yeah, not a lot to say just because I know it's going to be very good. The trailer, like, the music was good. What they showed was good. Like, Yeah.
Groot's finally like big again.
Yeah. That scene of
It
him and
looks
Quill back to
awesome.
back, like shooting and all
Yeah, and
those
he has
arms.
all the
Oh man.
yeah, that looked awesome.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, looks pretty good.
yeah.
Definitely gonna kill Rocket probably, but
I think Drax
it's all
also
right.
biting it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. He's like, yeah, I gotta, he's probably gotta play somebody in DC or something. So he's like, me, gotta switch, gotta change teams real quick.
uh, I mean, he's got a record saying he loves working with James Gunn, so
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. But yeah, it's coming out in May, so that's good. um, so every single time, it seems like every single time Kevin Feige is interviewed, someone asks him, "Will Deadpool 3 be R-rated?" I don't know why, because this happened like at least 4 times now.
It's an important question.
Not not to be stated 4 times.
I know.
In a recent interview with I'll go over a couple other things also, but in a recent interview where Kevin Feige just kind of gave a general, basic overview of what to expect for this year and beyond for Marvel stuff. He was asked once again, "Will Deadpool 3 be R-rated?" He said, "Yes, it will be R-rated. It'll keep the overall flair of the first movies." Which, yeah,
Woo.
good. Stop asking him. Like it would be, I think Ryan Reynolds could pull it off, but it could be equally as funny, but it needs to be R-rated to like really do what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's already done so well. Like, just keep it going.
Yeah. He also stated that going forward, there's probably going to be fewer Marvel shows, and they're going to be spaced out a little more to specifically to give time for VFX staff
Yeah,
to do finishing touches. Which, yes,
I think that's really
thank you.
good because yeah, there was oversaturation of shows for sure. Like, there was too
Yeah,
much going on.
like Miss Marvel was. I liked Miss Marvel enough, but the CG needs to work.
It's for, and I'm not gonna lie, the story was also kind of forgettable too. So it's like
Yeah,
maybe spend a little more time on that too. I mean, it's just
yeah.
spend more time on the shows and just cook them in general a little bit longer and space them out
Mm-hmm.
because between the movies, it's like they had movies coming out while shows are coming out, so it's like we're good. We've got a lot. There's a lot happening. We're
Yeah.
good. We don't need them from every moment of every day to
Mm-hmm.
have some MC content.
Yeah. 'Cause originally, Secret Wars, Loki, Ironheart, and Agatha were all supposed to come out this year. Now only Secret Wars and Loki are confirmed for this year, which I think is fine.
Good. Well, one, those are the two biggest ones by a mile, and you know, also, yeah, just kind of give it time. Let those, because we've already got, we've got what? Ant-Man, Guardians, we've
The
got, what else is coming?
Marvels.
Marvels is coming out this year. What else is on my, is that it?
I think that's all the movies.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, between that, yeah, we got Secret Wars, we got, yeah, like, well, let it cook for a little. Oh, Ant-Man, duh. But I mean, like,
Oh yeah, so yeah, that is 4 this year. No, three.
yeah,
Hang on, 3. Ant Man.
Ant-Man, Guardians, the Marvels, and
I thought that was it.
is that it? I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it for MCU stuff.
Yeah.
But still, like, I mean, that's enough. Plus, we like there's other stuff in general just coming out, so it's kind of like you don't have like. I feel like they have to constantly do stuff. It's like, hey man, that's okay. There's other stuff going. I'd rather you kind of like have things more sparingly and the quality be up than
Mm-hmm.
just always have something like coming out and the quality is kind of.
Right. Like I have no doubt in my mind that Loki is gonna be high quality, but I think they need to spend a little more time to make sure Ironheart is as good as it can be. Because even in Black Panther, her suit looked like it needed some work.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but it's like I still go back to that was not needed at all. Like that was
Yeah, like there's at least one comic run where her and Shuri are friends, but like
like
you don't need that
that
now.
was That was so forced. Like it was just like you could have just made the Ironheart show just intermingle with Wakanda. Like that would have
Yeah,
been fine. Like you could have just picked up there. It wouldn't have been a big deal.
yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, well,
But who like I mean, it's still a great movie. But
yeah, yeah. Giving still more time for yeah. Like I personally am not superhero fatigued, but I could definitely understand why how if some people were, especially considering this year there will be several other superhero stuff to watch. You know,
that's what I'm
obviously
saying.
Spider Man,
Yeah,
Shazam still coming out next month.
yeah.
You know,
Flash is
Flash obviously.
coming. I mean, we get into the Spider or across the Spider Verse. Excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
still happening. So I mean, and then just other movies in general. It's like, John Wick comes out next month.
Sure
We got,
does. I
you
got
know
a
what I
trailer
mean?
today, and yeah, it's gonna be 2 hours and 49 minutes. Like,
It's gonna be so great. And the best part, like, no talking. That's one of the things I think I love the most about those movies. Like, there's
mm,
like not much talking. That's just like, yep, more guys are coming.
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Gotta
they're
do what
dead.
I gotta do.
Oh,
Yep.
more guys are coming. Okay. Like, it's just business. I love it.
uh, yeah, I gotta give the first three another rewatch, just
Yep.
because they are that
Definitely.
good. But
They are. I think they're on Peacock right now. So
I don't have. No one has
yeah,
Peacock. They were
I
on.
know
They, they were on HBO for a second, then they got taken off. But
it's a
I,
disrespect.
I just didn't think to watch them in time.
Uh, I might have to see about how free on Peacock really means. So
I actually no, I actually checked. You there are specific shows you can watch on Peacock if it's free, but I don't think any movies or like exclusive stuff. So yeah, you need you need
what if it's
service.
free? How is it
You get some
free as
stuff
long?
for free, but not.
Okay, we'll have to. I'll look into it because I know me and my brother got to work watch that too.
Mm, yeah. Um, Sticking with Disney for just a second, they they confirmed that at least three movies are getting sequels. We're getting Zootopia 2, which I think they announced a while back, but they're reconfirming that.
Yeah.
Frozen 3, sure.
Yeah.
And also Toy Story 5 for some reason.
No. No. Absolutely not. I
Uh, I don't
I I
know.
still haven't seen the fourth one because I
Nope,
don't acknowledge it.
I don't
Like
care.
I have heard it's good, but it's like you you can't do an ending in three. Make a fourth one. Make a great ending in four, and then like, you know what? Let's run it again. And it's like, no.
We need Buzz Lightyear send off. No, we don't.
Everyone had a send off. Literally, the whole toy, every toy had
uh-huh.
a send off. It's like we're done twice,
Yep.
and it's like there.
Like
And that's my thing. It's like there are other movies that need sequels. It's like,
right.
Inside Out 2, they're finally getting around to. Zootopia was a great movie that could use a sequel. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Frozen 3, we knew it was happening,
Yeah.
sure,
The
but
first two
like,
made well over $1 billion. That's
yeah,
totally out there.
exactly. I mean,
But
you have. I mean, you
so did
have.
Toy Story 4. So
But I understand it, but like, you're just gonna keep like, if you keep redoing it, eventually it's gonna get watered down. Like, no one's gonna take it seriously if this is the final rodeo
mm-hmm,
every time.
mm-hmm,
Like, you can't. Like, no one cares. It's like Tom Brady retiring again. No one cares this time
right.
because you did it already. Like, but it's like, it's this whole thing where it's just like, you're Disney. You have so much, like Pixar. You have so much stuff that you can like work on. I mean, I don't hear nobody talking about Wally too. That could use a sequel, but
I, I mean, that movie
no.
ended pretty well. I don't think you need a sequel.
So did
So
Toy
did Toy
Story
Story 3,
3.
yeah. Like, I didn't love the sequel, but I'd be all down for Incredibles 3.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, you made a 2, so you have to make a 3. So yeah, Incredibles 3, sure. Like, could they have stopped at 1? Absolutely. They didn't. Okay, well, now you have to make 3. You
Yep.
can't just make 2.
right? They made
You
three
have to
cars.
make
You can't just make two Incredibles. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you could like it's just frustrating because it's like I see what you're trying. I understand that things are profitable, and it's like why not print more money? But at the same time, it's like is that going to eventually dilute the quality? You know what I
hmm
mean? It's like Fast and the Furious. After like the fifth one, it's kind of stupid. So it's like
But I feel like in that instance, by seven, they kind of embrace the fact that this is just ridiculous and kind of like
that's true.
they're not
That is
taking
true.
themselves seriously.
Yeah, but do you want that to happen with Toy Story?
No.
That's what I mean. Like you can't just I don't know. It's just gonna get watered down. The more it's like you
Mhm.
keep putting water in, it's like, bro, you just gotta buy more juice. Like you just gotta get a new one.
Right.
Like you can't just keep adding water and that. Like
Yeah, especially since the actor that played Mr. Potato Head, he passed away before the fourth one even came out, so they had to use archival recordings and AI to like make him say stuff for the fourth one. So you're gonna do that again for the fifth one? Like what? Like why did
apparently,
that's okay?
yeah. I don't. I mean, this is the age of if it ain't broke, keep going till you break it. Because they're
mm.
also making another Indiana Jones again, which I'm like,
I
okay,
mean,
with Harrison Ford again, which I'm like, I get it, but like, come on.
at the end of this movie, he needs to like pass the hat off to someone else. You can't just.
He should have done that 2 movies ago. Like, did we not learn from the last one?
Well, Shia LaBeouf was not the best pick to be his the next in line, so they gotta
I
try
mean,
again.
I get it, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I understand, but at the same time, it's like, man, we just do not like new ideas, do we?
No, um, no. Disney likes what is profitable, and these three things were very profitable. Even Zootopia made over $1 billion.
Yeah,
So
that was a great like Zootopia too. I have no problem with that's long overdue in my opinion because that was a great. That
came
was
out
what like 20.
7 years ago. Sorry, no, I didn't. Yeah. Oh, shoot it. February of 2016. Yeah, I think,
Yep, yep. That's
or like
yeah.
around like March somewhere, like early
That's
20.
what I'm saying. I'm like, 'cause I
Yeah.
remember I was in high school when that came out, so I'm
Like
like,
I
that movie.
said
It's
that
been a
number and like no, it had to be only three. Nope, that was way more than three.
no. I'm like, I was not like,
uh-huh.
that movie was because I saw that in theaters in high school, so I'm like, yeah, that movie was a while ago. So yeah, and that was it was a great original idea.
hmm
It was really smart. It was well written. It was funny. Definitely
Yep.
needed a sequel. Probably should have had one like 3 years ago, but whatever.
Uh huh. I know they announced there's like a Zootopia show on Disney Plus coming soon. I don't know if that's being reworked
Eh,
into a movie or whatever, but
I don't know.
yeah.
That feels unforced. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of Disney and also Pixar things that like you can make twos and threes of that instead of fours and fives of this instead. But
hmm Or just make new stuff,
yes,
and
or
not
just make new stuff.
make new stuff and not just relegate it to Disney Plus. Because
Yeah,
like if anything, that Lightyear movie should have been on Disney Plus, and Soul should have been in theaters, but
right.
or
I
Luca
think
or all
that's
the
so
other great
funny.
ones. But
I think that's so funny because like movies like Soul and like Luca and stuff like I didn't hear about till after they came out and everyone's raving about it. And then Buzz Lightyear, you heard about so much before it came out. As soon as it came out, you didn't hear anything,
yep,
and you're just like,
same thing with Encanto. Like Encanto is a very
oh,
good movie. I heard no one talk about it. Even I heard like there were, like basically no trailers or no marketing or anything for it. Then like that it came out, it flopped, and then went to Disney Plus. It broke records. It's like
oh, so that came out in theaters?
yeah, it came out in November of
Really?
2021. Yeah,
I didn't think it did because no one said
right.
anything. I thought, yeah, I thought it was just Disney Plus, and everyone's. I still haven't seen that. I need to watch that. Apparently, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because didn't like the soundtrack was like number one or something,
Mm,
and it's just like, bro,
yeah.
that's
It I think it came out either the like week before or day of Christmas 2021, and then like I think it topped Disney Plus's like streaming numbers for January. Like it even like a month later, it still was watched by a lot of people. I know Disney doesn't directly get they don't directly get money per view of a movie on Disney Plus, but like that's still a lot of like toy sales and just other things associated with the movie that went up because people see it on Disney Plus. So they probably should have tried to market the movie better for its
Yeah.
theatrical run, but whatever. Yeah.
You do.
And like I have a feeling even Lightyear, I have a feeling that movie wouldn't even make that big of a splash on Disney Plus just because of how bland it is.
Have you seen that movie?
No.
I was just, I was like, I know I hadn't, so I was asking you. I didn't
No,
know, but I
like
mean,
I've seen like a bunch of people review it and they're all like, it's fine. Like
I don't know.
it's
Like,
not the movie they thought they would get. It's just kind of I don't know. Like it's
but
not
what
this
did you think you were gonna get? I mean, that's kind of my thing. Cause I'm like, this kind of seemed like a weird choice to begin with.
like like you know a, a space epic a la Star Wars, but it's not really that.
I mean, it seems like you're like, oh, let's make a spin-off about something that's great, but take the great stuff out of it. It's like the cool thing about Buzz Lightyear isn't that he's Buzz Lightyear; it's that he's fitting in with these other toys,
Mhm.
especially in the beginning where he doesn't think he's a toy. Like that's really cool. But it's like,
But the movie that the toy is based on could still be cool, and then the
yes,
toy has
that
a
is
life
true.
of his own.
That is
But
true.
the movie
That is
isn't.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they fumbled the bag. It's okay,
yeah.
but they can't all be winners.
Right. Like it's also just kind of weird wrapping my head around how like the concept of Lightyear being a movie that exists within the Pixar universe kind of breaks my brain because obviously, us in the real world, we're watching the original Toy Story. So to us, Toy Story is an animated movie. But
Yes.
within the realm of Toy Story, is Lightyear an animated movie? Or is Lightyear live action relative to them?
Oh snap!
Because the graphics of Lightyear are significantly better than what Toy Story was back in 1995. We know he watched that movie around that time in 1995. So, like, were those live action actors doing the stuff on it relative to him, or is that an animated movie relative to him?
I'm going to say animated, and this is solely just because a lot of the characters in the like Buzz Lightyear mythos between the aliens or like Zurg, all like they make more sense to be animated than live action.
Right.
So I would think it's probably plus it's a kids movie, so it's probably animated just logically. But
I mean, Star Wars was technically a kids movie.
well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, like you have the example like Star Wars. I mean, on paper with all the like special effects that come with that, you would think, oh, that probably makes more sense to be animated. Which there are animated versions, but the original was not. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it could go either way. But like, because like, but the toy, like, cause I'm trying to think. I'm like, okay, the toy looks like a person, but obviously it could still be animated in an animation. But
Yeah.
it's also like,
And we have examples of animation in the Toy Story universe because of the Buzz Lightyear Starfleet or Star Command
right,
show. That the intro of that show is Andy sitting down and watching a TV, watching the
right,
cartoon we're watching that exists in the Toy Story universe. So that is a 2D animated show in Toy
right.
Story.
And
But
the Buzz Lightyear video game they play at that's the intro
yeah,
of Toy Story 2 looks exactly like the live like what the world is. So maybe.
I don't know, right?
I this is I need to rewatch some Toy Story and get back to you with some details. This is getting interesting now because like there are ways you could like prove one or the other theoretically. You just gotta have to like really look for details. Like, wait, no, it's live action because that wouldn't make sense animated or vice versa. So it's
Uh,
like I'll get back to you on that. That's
and
actually
like
really
I
interesting.
really wonder if the people making Lightyear even like thought about this. Did they
Probably
just were
not.
they just tasked with making, the making a Pixar movie like they always do? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
We'll see. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like that doesn't really matter at all. But
no, it
now I'm
doesn't.
super intrigued and I want to
Right.
know.
And because it does exist within the Pixar universe, there are still a lot of those Pixar Easter eggs, like the Pizza Planet truck and the Lotso ball, that are just like around. So are those in there? Are in the movie Andy watched? Are those in there, or is like the Pizza Planet truck? Is that like a sponsorship, like product placement from?
It's
Yeah.
got to be. Well,
Okay.
Pizza Planet's real, right? So, or at
Is
least
it
in
real?
Toy Story. So,
Yes.
yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean like real. I got you
It
real
could
for a
be.
second.
I'm sure there's a one in
Honestly,
Tomorrowland or
I
somewhere, but
thought
yeah.
Pizza Planet was real in
Yeah.
real life when I was a kid.
There has to be a
I used
Pizza
to.
Planet in Disney World, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's probably is, but like, yeah, Pizza Planet in the Toy Story world, like Andy and them, like
Mm.
Pizza Planet's a real place.
Yes.
So yeah, it's probably product placement because I mean that would make sense. Like I
Yeah.
mean we've seen like trying to think of product placement in a movie, but I can't like half these movies,
Yeah.
they just have whatever. Like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
pop it.
Transformers movies are ripe with product placement.
Oh,
There's one scene from the
there's
fourth one when like Mark Wahlberg's character like crashes and just he like crashes into a Budweiser truck and it like spills all over the all over the ground. Just the pan like 10 seconds just Budweiser. It's like okay.
yeah. Imagine you've been like, wow, that's refreshing. And it's
Or
like,
Bud
oh
Light,
come
whatever.
on.
Just he no, he does like pick up one like drink it angrily.
Stupid. Tastes terrible, but yeah. But yeah, it's probably product placement, but it could be. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know if maybe I'll get around to watching Lightyear eventually, but I don't know. I have no interest really. I have even less interest in watching a Toy Story 5.
I just, I just don't get it.
Mm,
I mean, no, I just don't like. You don't need that.
right. I mean, I'm also, for the record, not really interested in a Frozen 3 either. Frozen 2 is kind of bad.
I mean, I don't think it's. It has shortcomings, but I don't think it's bad. I personally liked it more than the first one, just
Really.
because the first one was very like obviously catering to a certain audience,
Mm,
and like I'm not an 8-year-old girl at the time, so it's like I
right.
get it. But at the same, like the second one felt. I mean, obviously it's still Frozen. I'm not gonna be like it's not about princesses,
Mm.
but it felt a little more general with its
Yeah.
audience. So like I was more interested. I wasn't like a who's the right, it wasn't like a oh, is he the right prince? I'm like, clearly this is not going to end well.
Uh,
And this one was more like, okay, I'm actually interested in the backstory of the like village or whatever, the kingdom or whatever. It was kind of getting interesting.
mm.
It got a little, and the soundtrack for the second one's also really
the
good.
the
I'm
music
not
in
even
the second one
gonna lie.
is pretty good. Yeah, I just feel like because the first one was a lot simpler, there's less it can mess up, and I feel the second. I can't get
Yes.
into it right now because I haven't watched it recently, but I remember the second time I watched Frozen 2 was like this has a lot of problems.
Yeah, it like there's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot of things you're like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, like that's kind of a stretch. Wait, why are we doing this?
Right.
This all could have been avoided. But
Mm-hmm.
but then there's like a really strong musical number. You're like, okay, maybe I was
Yeah.
too quick to judge, and then and then Olaf dies, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I was like, is he really gonna die? And I'm like, no, know he's not really gonna die.
Oh.
Obviously, like you know how much money they would lose if Olaf died.
Uh,
You know what I mean? Like the Disney would shut that down. They'd be like, "There's no way. You know, that's
it's
a
like
$1 billion
it's like all
loss."
the people that that were convinced that Grogu wouldn't show up in Mandalorian season 3. Like, are you kidding me?
You know how much money? Do you know how much money they would lose to not have this man? You know how much advertising they would lose? He's $1 billion by himself, let alone.
They took out a large chunk of a different show just to shoehorn in him getting him back.
They did. They did. As they should, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an icon. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty much.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what Frozen 3 has to offer. But I don't know. I personally like the second one better than the first one. But I understand more people being like, "Nah, the first one's iconic." I think I was just more annoyed by the first one.
No,
Just
that's
because
fair.
it
Yeah.
was like,
The second one's soundtrack wasn't as ubiquitous. It wasn't played literally everywhere all the time.
right.
So, whereas Let It Go was everywhere.
You had to watch the full like 3.5 minute version in Kingdom Hearts 3, the video game that you're
Really?
not even a part of, by the way. You're like
The whole
watching it
song?
in the distance, which is the whole song. The whole song. Like I like 3.5 minutes. You're just sitting there watching her do her music. I'm like, why are we've all seen this. Statistically, everyone has already seen this.
That's
We don't
really
need to
funny.
see this again. Like it's like what if the YouTube has like a couple billion on there views on
Oh,
YouTube. It's
easy, easy.
like come on, man.
It would
Like
have been kind of. I feel like that would have been a situation. Have you seen Lion King 1.5? Yes.
yes.
I feel that could have been a. If I were making that moment, I would have made it something kind of similar to the "I Can't Just Wait to Be King" moment, where it's like Timon and Pumbaa like the song is happening and they're like trying not to get stepped on and like
You're
end
like,
up.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
I always like that. Like they kind of like a different perspective from
oh
the
yeah.
same thing. I think that's always a good idea.
I would have loved like if like the song is happening and the Sora and them are like around
Yeah.
like I don't know like what exactly would happen, but like
Like they get frozen or something, or
yeah.
like it starts snowing randomly. They're like, "What the heck?" or like whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would have definitely been better. But it was just kind of like I don't know.
A full three
It's
minutes.
fine. The full sequence,
Hmm.
absolutely. Let's see. Oh,
Hmm?
only 840 million views. Oh, never mind. Nope, never mind. I'm lying. 3.1 billion. I'm lying. That
Yeah.
was the wrong one. That was the wrong
I was like,
one.
even if that is the official Disney one, there are so many versions of like there were so many uploads of that song on YouTube, whether it be like officially or
Gosh. Yeah, the UK version has like 900 million.
wow.
The karaoke version has 700 million. Like,
Honestly, that's
oh
kind of low.
Demi Lovato's version has 620 million, which is wow,
Hmm,
good for them.
hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
Huh.
I don't know. But anyway, I don't even know what we're talking about. But anyway,
Frozen.
yes, Frozen 3 makes sense, obviously, financially as well as,
Yeah,
it's you gotta make a third one.
yeah, but like Zootopia 2 should have happened by now.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
yeah, how do you wait 7 years? I don't understand that.
I mean, it's better than Incredibles. The waited what was it, 14?
Yeah,
So
and I
I
I think we could have waited a little bit longer, but yes,
mean, I didn't hate the second. It's not as good as the first one, but that's not really fair.
I I haven't watched it twice.
I've watched it a couple times.
Like,
I still like it. It's very Legend of Korra to Acid. Like
ooh,
it's not
okay, yeah,
bad,
yeah,
but you just don't like it as much because you know how good the first one is.
okay. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still very enjoyable. Like the action scenes are good. The story makes a good amount of sense. And
Mm,
it's nice to see it kind of do the same thing but the opposite
mm,
with, the mom's more busy and doing superhero stuff, the dad's taking care of the kids and dealing with new environment changes
mm.
and I'm jealous of you. You were jealous of me. Yada yada yada. Cool. More stuff and like better. Also, maybe just because I'm an adult, the adult jokes are way funnier.
That's fair.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it's. I thought it was a good one. But yeah,
If they made a third one, I hope there's a massive time skip. Like I hope Violet and Dash are grown up and they're like
yeah, I'd
doing
agree.
their own
Yeah,
thing.
that is probably one thing. Like this is one of the few times where I actually wanted a time skip. Because
Right.
usually when they do a time skip, it's like, why'd you do that? But
Like you can have it start with them fighting the Underminer and then
yeah, then
time
you can
skip.
skip after.
Like, but
But yeah, you could have been like superheroes are banned, and then 5 years later, we haven't been superheroes in 5 years. Like I feel like that would have made it set in a lot more.
mm, or 14. That would be real
Well,
fun.
okay, maybe 14 probably would have been too much, just because they would have all, but they would have both been like gone with their own lives, and Jack's like almost graduating at
Yeah,
that point.
have the movie be about him. Like, what's his actual power? Like what did he end up at?
Everything.
I wish they had settled on one. Like
They should. They should.
when he grows up, he'll have it may be teleporting or maybe laser vision or just like one or two powers, but because I mean Violet has two because for some reason invisibility and shield are the same thing. I blame Sue Storm for that, but whatever.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that's just a straight rip from Fantastic Four, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, but then again, I mean, the other one, I mean, then again, Elastigirl's also kind of the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's fantastic, and but honestly, I kind of like how. I think it's interesting how they never explain how powers work. Like, clearly they're genetic, but
Mhm.
like the powers have no
Yeah,
like
like it's very
determination of
much
what
like the
powers you
mutant
get.
gene, where even even if two parents have very different powers, their children will have. They don't. There's no knowing what they'll have.
Yeah, you
Like
can just we don't know. He's like he could just turn into a puddle. He could be a god. Like we don't know.
right.
There's no like
Like
there's really no way of knowing.
isn't the son of Cable and sorry, isn't the son of Jean and Cyclops Cable or someone
Yeah.
who will. Okay, like Cable's cool, but he's not Jean Grey.
Yeah, but I mean, like, who is like? But then there's also like Charles Xavier's son, who apparently can like destroy the world if not put in check or something. So
No,
like,
Franklin Richards, Sue and Reed's son.
oh
He's an
gosh,
Omega level mutant, just because.
wait, are they? Wait, does
They're,
that work that way?
no,
That's what I was
but
thinking. I was like, they're not really mutants though. That's kind of like the Spider-Man anomaly kind of thing.
I think they're.
Strong power person, good enough.
But he is considered a mutant. Like on his thing, he's called an Omega level mutant. Maybe it's like
Is it because he was born with his powers, even though they weren't?
I guess, but like the mutant,
So is the qualifications you have the X gene, or that you're just born with powers?
I don't think Xavier cares.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't think anyone would actually care at that point.
Right, like
It's like
people
you
hate
have these
Spider-Man just
abilities.
because he has powers. Like you're one of us. Like
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not that serious. Not that serious.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't really matter how you're in this pot. You're in the pot. Whatever.
Uh,
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that's interesting how it's just like we don't know how. We have powers. You guys are gonna have them. We don't know how you're gonna use them. But it'd be funny if Jack grew up and didn't have any powers
lost
anymore.
lost so many
You
in
were.
puberty.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you were insane for like 10 years, and now you're just a guy. That would stink.
Mhm.
But that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah. So clearly, Disney. I hope in the future they either pick sequels to stuff that deserves it, and or do more original stuff. But until then, Toy Story 5. Yeah, okay, whatever. Speaking of Hollywood running out of ideas, apparently, apparently, there is going to be a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie.
My immediate thought is why.
The
but
original director is coming back for it. So that's
that
something.
okay. I mean
But
that.
but why?
First of all, that's one of those things that you don't need to make. Like it, that's going to be hard to make and expensive
hmm
to make it look really good
Yep.
because 90% of it is going to be CGI.
Yep.
So unless you're willing to pay that much money on, that, which I feel like they're probably not going to, I don't think that's going to do super well, which worries me. Because How to Train Your Dragon is awesome.
hmm
I mean, the story's great. The characters rock. The dragons are really unique and cool. The music is
Oh
S
yeah.
tier, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, it's insane. So, like, first of all, bring back the soundtrack. I don't care what. If they don't have the soundtrack, it's automatic trash. I don't care. Like,
Right. But it's one of those things like just kind of like with Lion King, where it's basically a shot for shot remake, but worse. Like
yeah.
if the original director is making this movie, will it just be a shot for shot remake, or will he try to make something new? But if I don't know, like, is it weird that because my I, my in my brain I'm kind of getting to this idea because of Invincible, how the original director or the original writer like came to be the showrunner of the show and did something different. Like, will he?
Changed it up.
Yeah, like, not that I think you can necessarily improve on the original movie, but he would be like, because it is in a live action setting. Here's how I would do it in a live action
Well,
setting.
that's what I was thinking. I was
But
like, I feel like if you try to change it up too much, you mess with the pacing, which I feel like is really good in those movies.
yes,
So, like,
hey,
kind of,
just make it an hour longer. It's fine. I don't know.
I mean, you could, but like, I don't. One, I mean, this is one of those things that doesn't need to be made. One, because How to Train Your Dragon is not nearly old enough to be remade yet.
2009, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the newest one came out like a couple of years ago. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that
20,
old.
2019 or something. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We just finished this not too long ago, and it's like, oh yeah, we're doing this again. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can just like, and they're still amazing.
Yeah.
The graphics are the animation looks great still.
Uh
The third one is insanely
huh.
good looking. So
mm,
it's like, why?
yeah.
I don't know.
Eh,
This seems like this is what I mean. It's like no one like you don't need this at all.
And
This
you
is a
just know
very
they're just gonna call it How to Train Your Dragon. It's like they're just gonna call it How to Train Your Dragon, and then just have it be also called that when like that just shows you run out of ideas when you're just calling it the same thing. There's no subtitle. There's no like, it's not like continuing the story in a different medium. It's just How to Train Your Dragon again.
yeah, and it's really unnecessary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it personally, but again, it's one of those things where people are just yeah, why not? We'll just make another one. It's like, all right, but like
Okay.
you're gonna tarnish some of the original love and how good it like
I don't care.
you want to make live action Kung Fu Panda while you're at it and just ruin that too? I mean,
Sure.
couldn't leave good enough alone. Live
Mm.
action Shrek, why not? Like, come on, just it's right there, clearly. I mean, that would make more sense than live action How to Train Your Dragon right now. At least Shrek's older, so you can make an argument a new one needs to be made, even though
Yes.
movies don't need to be,
I don't know.
updated. They're
Or just
fine,
make
but
new stuff.
yes, no, that is by far the like preferred method. Like, actually be original for once and not retread something and make it worse because anything that's not as good as the
Mhm.
original is like
Like,
not going to be great at all.
I completely understand why.
I don't.
Why I completely understand why like Hollywood executives and big wigs, why they feel more safe making franchise stuff and like stuff that is actually already popular. I get that, but something like John Wick, which was a completely unique idea, like the only thing he really had going for it was Keanu Reeves. Even then, I think he was kind of like on a he had been on a hiatus for a couple of years before then. So that was like his big like reemergence into Hollywood. So even that wasn't like a sure bet, and that came out and did really well, and now we're on their fourth one. People were really excited for it. So like new ideas can work. You don't just have to remake
Yeah,
everything
it's
over and over and over again.
that's kind of my thing. It's kind of like it doesn't. It feels very like it feels like a desperation move, despite no desperation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the problem. It's kind of like I feel like this is something you would do if you were like, okay, if we don't get a solid comeback from this, we're going under. It's like, bro,
Right.
you're fine. You're doing great. You don't need to, just you can take a few risks,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
But
just
then again, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, what's better, money, or like the guaranteed money or the chance of money? And it's like, if you look at it that way, yeah, but it's like, yeah, but it's like,
at what point does the guaranteed money stop being guaranteed? At what
yes.
like Toy Story 7? Do you think people are still going to come out for Toy Story 7? Like I don't think so.
Well, they're still going to see Fast 10. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I get it, and people are creatures of habit, and like half the time people just want to see movies and content anyway, so they'll just go for it. But at
Mm.
the same time, it's like there comes a point where you're like, come on, man, you gotta.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't, I don't like it. I
And
do not
like
like it.
for the record, I don't I don't go to see a movie in theaters if I don't know I'm gonna like it. So I guess I'm part of the problem. Like, unless it's a franchise I know, or unless it's something that like draws me in completely from the trailers, I won't usually like go to a movie just to watch something if I don't know I'll really enjoy it, or something I feel obligated to
Mhm.
watch. Um, I mean, if I watch some of the more obscure stuff, we get more creative, cool stuff. The, but I regardless of that, I'm just one person. People,
Well,
you watch
yeah,
movies every week pretty much. So you know,
yeah, well, not every week, but pretty often. Yeah, we're watching them a lot, so it's one of those things that's like me and my friends are movie people, so like we go see
mm,
when stuff comes out, we go see it. And if it's one of those like, all right, well, we don't really know what's coming out. Well, let's go try this movie. Let's try that movie. Let's like, we saw that House Party movie a couple of weeks ago. It's
mm,
absolute trash, but whatever. Like we
yeah.
watched it. It was it was one of those movies you going in, you're like, this is probably not going to be good, but like,
Who was
why
in that?
not? Like, I'll check
I
it.
vaguely
Huh?
recognize that name. Who was in that? Like what actors?
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be a lot of people you would know. It's a lot of like, there's like rappers. There's like some
Ah, okay.
athletes. It's not really a movie goer kind of movie. It's a certain audience kind of thing. So I don't think it'd be a lot of people. I mean, LeBron James is in it.
Okay.
I know you know who
Oh,
that is,
I know
but
him. Yeah.
other than that, I don't think like DC Young Fly or any of those guys. So
No,
it doesn't. Yeah,
no.
no,
Kid
or
Kid
like Kid
Cudi, I
Cudi
at
and
least
all that.
recognize that name.
Yeah,
So
Kid Cudi, bro.
whatever. Yeah.
There was a couple. There was some. It was kind of random. There were some random people just kind of in it. You were kind of like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, what
Yeah.
it could have been a lot funnier, but it's whatever. But anyway, yeah, just like but I think this whole thing with let's just remake it because we know it's good. It's like I get it to a certain extent, but it's like you're sacrificing quality for quantity by just doing more and doing more and doing more. And like, yes, you're making money, but it's like the overall effect on that IP or that thing is kind of it's negative in my opinion. I feel like you're really hurting that when you're just like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, let's just who cares? Let's just squeeze as much out of this as we can. And who cares if it tarnishes the legacy of this great thing, So
Cough. Star Wars cough.
I mean, yeah, yeah, definitely Star Wars. Like Star Wars is an example of like not quitting while you're ahead. Like especially with certain things, it's like there doesn't have to be a Star Wars movie all the time. Especially when you have shows that are great,
Mm,
and then you have like how are you gonna have award-winning shows at the same time as you have some of the worst movies anyone's ever seen? Like at the same, like actively happening together, and it's like,
I mean, for the record, like the Star Wars shows didn't really get started until Mandalorian, which which
but
came out
even
right before
before, but I
Skywalker.
mean, even before that, and it's been the same thing with like these stuff we talked about with
Yeah.
like, oh man, like these animated movies are great. Oh, DCAU is amazing, and then oh wow, these DC movies are like, what's this? Who
Mm.
signed up on this? Like, Paul Dini's like, look how they massacred my boy, and it's just kind of like, what's going
Yeah.
on here? And it's like, and I know that there's the whole trope of, oh, people that do animation or people that do TV shows, whatever, can't do big movie stuff, which I think is completely cap and
Mm-hmm.
wrong. But again, I'm not a $1 billion executive, so I can't make that decision. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm worried, and I know when it's just movies, but even the whole like animated movie versus live action thing, I'm kind of feeling a same kind of vibe because especially with the Lion King, it felt like one of those things that was like, it felt like the best parts of the animated part were completely not even considered for the live action. Live action was just, okay, let's get famous people
Yep.
to voice dub Animal Planet essentially, and it was
Uh huh.
like, it didn't work because, wow, yeah, wow, that's a really good cast. Like again, cast was elite. Like I was impressed how many
Mm-hmm.
people they got, but it was like, it didn't. It did one, like the whole the animals didn't look. It didn't look like Lion King. It looked like just dubbed over. It looked like just dubbed over, like regular animal play. It didn't look like it was really in sync. It didn't really, you couldn't see, the emotion. You couldn't read the emotion. You couldn't really
Mm-hmm.
tell a character, or you really tell who was who past the time. It just,
Yeah, and like
it didn't capture the magic
because
at all.
because it is live action in heavy quotations, you can't be as creative as the original movie. Like we mentioned, I can't wait to be king. Like that sequence in the live action one is so much less impressive. Like you just have some animals running around, but like it's not the like tower of just creatures that comes crashing down the end. It's just like
Yeah.
they're just running around. Like okay.
Live action is not better just because, like,
Yep.
that's kind of the biggest thing, which, like, I understand there are people who diminish things because they're animated, but I think that's something that just, I mean, especially when you have things like Disney movies and stuff like who do dominate with animation, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're gonna have to get out of your own way and be like, hey, either we can keep things animated, or you don't have to live action every single movie and every single, especially movies that don't need to be remade. It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
And
if you think it's a movie that, hey, this didn't do very well one way, maybe we try it another way and it works.
yep.
Call for Treasure Planet,
Atlantis. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, Atlantis, sure. Like that one makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like, oh yeah, let's take like arguably the greatest Disney movie of all time and just like redo it. And it's just like, why? You're not like, like best case scenario, you make it slightly worse.
Pretty
So
much.
it's like,
Yeah.
why even, like, even this Little Mermaid thing? Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think, I don't think it's like, oh, why is she black? Like, I don't care. I don't like. I mean, but it's more like, why is this movie being made? Because it's one, Little Mermaid's not that old, so I don't feel like it needs to be remade.
It,
But
I mean,
also,
that one I feel has the of the like Disney Renaissance era, which technically started with, well, it officially started with Little Mermaid. That I think has the biggest justification for being remade because it is the oldest of that era of Disney stuff.
it's what, like 94, I think.
90, no, 89, 89.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Lion
Okay,
King was
maybe I'm wrong.
94. Um,
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, hold on.
yeah,
My bad.
like if anything, like it should have been made before Beauty and the
Oh
Beast.
wow,
Should have been made
right.
before Lion King, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I just feel kind of like I don't know. I just feel well. One, it's it feels kind of cheap because you're kind of just especially when they're more or less shot for shot remakes or at least trying to
Yeah,
be. It's kind of just like
but the
I feel like if you
saturation is so dark, I can't see anything. Like
mm,
oh, for that trailer in particular, I saw this one like film news site or Twitter profile thing that was like first look at Ursula in Little Mermaid. It's like that's just a black screen. I can't like turn my brightness all the way up, but like I can't see anything.
he said, I don't know who that is. Who is? Oh, isn't it Melissa
It is,
McCarthy?
yeah, which is good. That's good
That's
casting. I like it.
that's yeah. I want to say that. I ain't gonna lie. If I was had to think of okay, who's Ursula as a person, that's probably like the second person I would have thought of.
Who's
To
the
be
first?
honest, I don't know, but I'm just gonna assume that's not the
Uh,
first one, just because I don't want to say that's a cop out. But
right.
like, I'll think about it. But that's a really good casting though,
Uh,
because it's like yeah, she does kind of have that.
vibe at least, yeah.
Yeah, you could very easy. I could very easily see that.
Oh yeah. But going back to Disney animation and like sure bets and whatnot, it is the dumbest thing to me that in like even let's put it this way, like you said, Disney is more or less the king when it comes to animation. However,
Absolutely.
whenever there is something that's relatively unknown or even like a completely new IP or just completely new thing like Encanto, like Strange World, which came out last year that no one saw, right?
Never even.
Even like there were almost no trailers for it. Like the people who were doing the like they had a like a premiere tour thing with Jake Gyllenhaal and other people in it, but they didn't look like they wanted to be there. Just just like this movie that could have been good. I don't know. Like they they didn't let us know it existed until a week before it came out, and then it's like, oh, I guess that's happening, and then I forgot about it and never saw it. Like the first time I saw a trailer for that movie was right before I saw Black Panther. like I,
Is this movie? I've
it's
never
real,
heard of
yeah.
this. When did this happen?
In like late November 20, yeah, late November of last year.
Yeah, November 23rd, bro. I had never heard of this movie.
It's on Disney Plus if
That
you want to
feels.
watch it.
That feels. This is Jake Gyllenhaal,
hmm
Gabrielle Union, Lucy Luke, bro.
Yep.
This has people in it. What? That's
hmm
not interesting. Okay, well, but that's what I mean. Yeah, I feel like they are kind of like intentionally lowballing a lot of these,
But
like
but
for
you
no
don't know
reason.
what could be big.
That's
Like
what I'm saying.
they tried to push Lightyear super hard and it flopped. So I guess they thought, hey, if we do no advertising for Strange World, it'll do better. No, what?
Does it feel like, even though it was also animated, it feels like Lightyear, they were pushing it like it was live action, even though it
yes.
wasn't, because it was
Yes.
very, like, it was different animation.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it definitely had that live action put. Like, it felt like it was a live action movie they were making, even though it definitely wasn't. But because of how they were marketed, like, every commercial, every, like, ads on YouTube, like, everywhere you saw, it was like, oh, Lightyear, 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 Lightyear. And then so it's kind of like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what determines what movies get the like live action treatment and what ones get dusted under the rug and just thrown on Disney Plus when no one's looking?
Yeah.
I mean, that feels so.
I don't know. And it is kind of hard to tell what will take off because, like we said, Encanto, a month after it was
Yeah,
in theaters, it came to Disney Plus and then blew up from there. But Strange World didn't get that, mostly because it's not a musical, so you can't really have that going for it. But still, like it should have a new Disney movie, new Disney animated movie should have some kind of cultural impact.
yeah.
Like obviously, I'm not expecting every movie to be a Frozen, but you know, people
Every
should
now and again,
people should
you
know
get
it
a Frozen.
exists. People should know it. Like if anything, like I personally didn't even see Zootopia in theaters because the advertising annoyed me. Like every single trailer was just the sloth, and I hated the sloth. I think the third time I saw it, it's like I don't want this. It's like this is all you have to show me. I don't want this. And like in the movie, it was a good joke, but
Right.
I don't. That's not a good trailer moment.
Yeah, it wasn't a good trailer moment. Well, it was okay, but yeah, it's not.
It's
It
not a good
was much
trailer.
better in the actual movie.
It's not a good trailer moment when you watch a bunch of movies and it plays before every single movie for like half a year.
Uh,
Yeah. Um, so I didn't end up seeing it in theaters, but I am very glad it was a big hit, and I really enjoy it now. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like they at the time they knew they had something with Encanto or sorry with Zootopia, and it did pay off, but they didn't believe in Small Wonder. Is that what it's called? That's what it's called, right?
Small
No,
Wonder.
sorry. Oh dear, I just had it. The movie we were talking about that came out last year.
Oh, Strange
Strange
World.
World. Yeah, Small Wonder is a different
Yeah,
thing.
I was like, wait,
Sorry,
what is this?
Strange World, Strange World, Small Wonder, same first letter. Um, I guess they didn't believe in it and just didn't bother. It just be, I don't know. I don't know what their logic was when you do have all those big actors in it and just leave it up to dry. I don't know.
Uh, Pillsbury. Yeah, it feels kind of messed up.
Oh well. Okay. Um, okay. Moving on to the last topic I have. You're excited for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, correct?
Are you not?
No, I am. Do you care in the slightest that it's going to be $70?
I mean, for this particular game, no, but the new standard of games being $70 does bother me.
Right. That is exactly my mindset. Like, I feel they could totally get away with charging 70 for this game. Because, first of all, everyone was going to buy this game anyway. $10
100%.
is not that big of a deal. It's like I
No.
know, like there are some cases where some people, although I feel if you don't have $70 to spend, you probably shouldn't buy video games. But that's whatever. Like people deserve to do whatever they want with their money. I don't care. But like I understand some people can only afford to spend $60 on a game every month or whatever. I get that. So maybe 70 is a little too much for them. But for I'll say the average consumer, 10 extra dollars isn't that big of a deal. So like if you were going to buy Zelda, a $70 price tag is not going to change your decision. It's not. You're
No,
no.
not at
Especially
all.
since
I'm not going to.
you know it's not going to get a discount within the next 5 years. So we might as well buy it now.
Well, that's kind of my thing. It's like the whole thing of Switch games don't depreciate at
Mm,
all is kind of the double-edged sword. Because on the one hand, you're like, wow, this game's gonna be super expensive. Like, the new standard is $70. This game's gonna be $70 until like 2026.
yep, at
But
least.
then it's gonna be $60.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Uh,
But it's like because I mean, Breath of the Wild was still like I bought it last year. It was still $40, so it's like and
mm,
granted, worth it. But like, dang, like that game was like 5 years old when I got it.
right.
But so it's kind of like it's not going to depreciate because Switch games just don't. But at the same time, it's like if we're now moving into the era of now every game's $70, and this time it didn't even come with a console change. It feels kind of like okay, that's a
Yeah.
little much.
So my second point is Nintendo did make it very clear that 70 will not be the standard for their games as of right now.
Uh huh.
There are certain games that could be like when Metroid Prime 4 comes out, there's a chance that could be because that game had a very tumultuous development cycle. But like a new Kirby game or a new Pokemon or Fire Emblem, like all these you know
The big ones,
yeah like
but
the like really big ones that Nintendo like put all of their effort into, those could be 70. But like not every game's gonna be 70. Some could even be less. you know.
I mean, I hear that, but I don't necessarily believe that. I'll be
No, and I
honest.
almost guarantee, like, come 2024, 25, whenever the next system comes out, then you'll start seeing more
Oh,
$70
for
games.
sure.
But I really dislike the fact that Sony started this trend of even like Ratchet and Clank, which, like, I'm sure it's a fine video game, but that it's just a platformer. Like, I know it's a very pretty looking platformer. I know people can get a lot of value out of that, but it's gonna be like 10 hours and then you're done, and you're gonna do New Game Plus, and it's another 10 hours and then you're done. Like, you might replay it in 2 years, but then, like, I don't know. I just feel like Breath of the Wild, a game that you're easily gonna accidentally put 50 hours into,
Oh,
like,
way more than that.
accidentally, and then you actually start playing. Like,
That's right. Not even kidding. It's like you put 40 hours in. Oh, this is where I was supposed to go.
like, that is
Literally
content.
me.
That is worth that much. Like, but when Sony's over there just throwing $70 on literally everything, like, I don't know. I feel like certain games don't deserve it. Like, not to dog the developers or whatever, but, like, I would I feel those games are worth 60 because that is the standard, but I don't think the standard should be set higher yet. Not for Ratchet and Clank.
That's
Not
my
for
thing.
Demon Souls, which is a remake of a game. Not that it didn't take effort, but I don't know if it took that much extra effort. I don't know.
Right. They do the Mega Man Legacy Collection, and it's like, oh yes, I'm like, yeah,
I think
disrespectful,
that's 50. I think
but
that'll be 40 actually. I think.
that would probably be yeah. Usually, the like anytime they make those remakes of game, and this has been true across all platforms. Whenever it's like the remake, they're like 40 instead of
Yeah.
like 6, because like
Or
when they
like
did like the
like remastered
SpongeBob,
packages together. Yeah.
Rehydrated, yeah,
Yeah.
all those games, they weren't full price, which I appreciate because it's
Mm,
not like the games are new, but
yeah.
you know,
Like that
but yeah, I mean,
Turtles collection was 40. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like I'm not against it for this game, obviously, because like it's not like I'm not gonna buy it. Like,
Mm.
come on now, but at the same time, it is kind of like, oh man, like I remember growing up, like when back when it was just the PlayStation 2, new games were $40. Like we're almost
Yeah.
double that now. Like that's like, and
Yeah.
I understand it's been like I was not a kid last week. It's been a while, but you know,
I mean,
it is almost double.
for the record, like, shockingly, like, recent before that, like just before PS2 era, video games were costing in late '90s dollars a lot more than $40. Like, a lot of N64 and PS1 games costed upwards of 60 to upwards of like an 80 bucks. Like, most
What?
NES and SNES games costed a lot, like upwards of
Really?
$90 for an SNES game in '90s
What?
dollars. Yeah,
Like actually $90
yeah,
or like
yeah.
adjusted?
Actually, $90 in 1999 money or whatever.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
mm-hmm. Yeah. There was no regulations at all for video game prices. They just said whatever, and
The price is the price. You
yeah.
deal with it or don't buy it.
I don't
Oh man,
remember.
that's terrifying.
There was some turning point. I remember. I think, like, first party developers kind of like had more or less a standard, but as far as like third parties, they just put whatever out there. But there was some. I don't think it was a court ruling, but there was some person or some instance that, like, established for this generation we're charging $50, and then when the HD stuff happened, that's 60, and then, like, for the Wii still at 50 because it wasn't HD yet, and the Wii U came out, it was 60, and then PS4, Xbox One, and Switch 60, and now they decided, oh, because games are getting bigger and more voice acting and more polygons and whatever else, 70, sure. I don't know.
I mean, you say like you're not gonna make all this money. Like that's kind of my thing. It's like I understand you might have put a little more effort into it, but it's like you act like this game's not gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars. Like
some games don't do as well as they thought it would, but like,
I mean, this one
oh, this one,
is.
this one
This
is.
one's gonna break its record in like a week.
Yeah. Like on one hand, it's not a launch system game, so it doesn't have
That's
like
true.
the same kind of hype behind it, but it has a very different, possibly more intense hype behind it, being the sequel to this
That's
great game.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's the sequel to arguably the best game ever, best Switch game there is. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
like if you own a Switch, you're buying this game. Like it's understood.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
And all those people who are like, it just looks like DLC to the first one. Like it's a sequel. Like when you watch a sequel to a movie, like yeah, John Wick 2, for example, it's just the next chapter in that story, but it's not just DLC for the first movie. It's like
mhm.
I know who
Also,
like what
like that's not at all bad because it's
right.
like there's new features that we can do,
Mm-hmm.
new weapons, new enemies,
New story.
same mechanics, new story, same mechanics, same more world of open worldness of already a ridiculous open world.
Yep.
What more do you want?
I don't.
I mean, that's kind of all you would ask. That's more than I would have expected already, and I haven't even seen half the. I haven't
It
even seen the
doesn't.
game really.
It
So
doesn't have traditional Zelda dungeons, so it's a bad Zelda game.
the
Shut up.
last one,
Shut up. I don't
yeah,
care.
like I didn't. Like you can't be that like. No, I mean that game's it's like the first one's insanely good. This one looks like. I mean, to me, it's like I don't want to say it's like it's almost feels like the hype is insane, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like warranted because it's like generally the second game in like a series of games is usually the best one. So it's kind of like for me, I'm very excited just because this can do everything that was great about the first one, and then add new mechanic. Like we're in the sky, you can go through walls. Like there probably is some kind of like I find it hard to believe they didn't do something about like weapon like
Right.
resistance or
There's some
something.
people
Like there's no
theorizing that
way.
there's some kind of crafting system, which
That's
I'm
what I'm
kind of
saying.
surprised there wasn't one in the first game, considering there are so many like random loot and items that you can pick up. Just like craft new weapons. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. You could use like flint or like luminous rocks or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, man, that'd be awesome. Such a good game. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like there's still a lot you can still explore with the game because again, like yeah, you said there's a ton of inventory, which most of it you'll never use, but you want to have 99 of everything because
Mm-hmm.
or 999 of everything because you have problems. But it's whatever. You can't pick up any more ancient screws, but I want more
I
ancient
want more.
screws. And it's just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, man, I mean, I think it's going to be amazing. I don't mind paying extra. I'd pay $100 for this game, though. So that's not really saying a
That
lot.
like yeah, that's kind of my thing. It's like if you're excited for this game, no price
Don't
tag is
care.
gonna stop. Like nobody. I legitimately believe anybody who legitimately says, "No, I'm not going to play the game because it's slightly more expensive than I expected to pay." No, you're kidding yourself.
No,
You weren't gonna play
no,
it
you
anyway.
were not that.
Like,
Like, my thing is, like, no one who really is excited about this game would say that at all because there's no way. Like, this game is
right.
going to be epic. You can't just be like, oh, it's $10 more. It's like, bro, you're probably gonna pre-order
Mm-hmm.
it, so that's already, So I mean, and again, it's like, but again, for me, it's the principle. It's not necessarily for this game, but if this is starting the
Uh,
trend for other games, then it's like, okay, now I see the problem.
yep.
Like, I
The
don't mind paying 70 for this game at all. I'll pay 170, honestly. But
yeah, the moment the moment any given Pokemon game is 70, and it doesn't look like there's any like you know great step in X, Y, or Z game, like, gameplay, graphics, etc. Like then I'm gonna have an issue. I'm gonna buy it, but I'm gonna have an issue with, with like maybe why is this 70? Like why is Breath of the Wild and this on the same level if if this is so good, this is still a very fun Pokemon game, but it's not technically as good as this other thing. Like, what makes these equal? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah. It's one of those things where it's just kind of like I get it, but I also don't really get it because it's like you didn't really have to. But
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna do? I
Well,
mean, life in general is just getting more expensive these days, so it kind of makes sense.
yeah,
But
and
doesn't mean I have to like it.
at least Nintendo, or at least Nintendo of Japan has said that they are giving all of their Nintendo of Japan developers raises in the next fiscal year, which is good. If your company is making money, making more profit than you've ever made, you should give your employees more money, which is just a
Yes, and
foreign
not just throw
concept to
them a
American
pizza
corporations, but
party.
whatever.
Great job, everyone! We made record sales.
Oh, you
Does
got to
that mean we get a
fire
raise?
all of you. It's like,
No.
what?
Right?
Like,
To accommodate for our record earnings, we're gonna lay three of you off.
mm-hmm.
like,
Like in the
uh,
report that announced that Disney is making all those sequels we didn't ask for, they're also laying off I think like 7,000 people across all the divisions. Like, but you, I'm sorry you didn't make as much money as you were hoping to last year, but okay, it's not these people's fault.
that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
but
But
at least Nintendo doesn't seem to be doing that, which is at least just good. Because yeah, they are making so much money off the Switch.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll making even more after Zelda comes out for $70, but I'll still buy it. Yeah, yeah, like you said, I'm as of right now, I am okay with paying 70 for Zelda, but once the next system comes, I'm fully expecting those games to be like every first party game to be 70, even if I don't necessarily think it deserves it, but like that's just what the standard will be by then. So what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, like this was going to happen eventually. Like it's not like this was never going to happen. It's
Mm,
just I don't love it,
yeah.
but eh.
Oh well. Um, yeah. Anything else do you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off?
No, not really. Just excited for Ant Man, and once February's done, March is when real things on my awesome hyped list
Yeah.
really start kicking off. So
Yeah.
it's
Shazam,
life
John
is good.
Wick,
I'm ready.
Dungeons and Dragons if you want that.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Got what else? So I got on March Creed 3,
Mm-hmm.
Shazam, a Jedi Survivor,
No,
Dungeons
that
and
was delayed to
Dragons
April.
movie.
Jedi was
Oh, it was.
April, yeah.
Oh
But you
well.
can't even play. You don't have
Can
a
I
next.
play
You don't have a next gen system.
I
What are
mean,
you
I
doing?
know, which is like I should take it off my list, but I'm like, it's still a cool game. But then again, I still never played the first one. I have it, I just never
Probably
played it.
same actually. I played the first level 3 times and I just kind of stopped, or first like section.
Right?
Like,
I'm so like I was like I started and then I'm just like, ooh, Ghost of Tsushima.
uh,
Ooh, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Like it's just like all these other games I'm just playing. I'm like, it's kind of
mm,
funny because when you think about it, they're all kind of like not the same game, but they're kind of the same idea. Which is still great because I love those
yeah,
games, but it's like because it's just like, oh, you're this person, go, cool.
cool. I,
I like that.
yeah. um, so yeah, with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care.